I was actually the first girl in our family to go out of my city to study actually. There are no people in our family, studying in a good IIM, good IIT in that matter. Generally, my parents were not aware of these IIMs and all in general. Even I only know them through social media. I literally remembered the day when IIM Kozhikode results came. When I converted IIM Kozhikode, it was on March 8th, I still remember the date. I cried like anything. So this is Tejaswini. I was born in a Tier 3 city in Andhra Pradesh, which is Ongole. So most of my childhood, all my schooling, my intermediate was done in Ongole only. Since my childhood, I always wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to study BPC, but then things went different due to the financial situation. I came from a very decent family background. So my father, he doesn't want me to, being a girl, he doesn't want me to study for like 10 years. Like it's a notion, MBBS, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, money, everything. So he wants me to study engineering. So that is how I end up being an engineer. I did my graduation from JNTU Kakinada. During my intermediate, I was preparing for JEE, but that didn't go well. Luckily, I ended up in a state university, JNTU. I was so happy I went to that college because that gave me a lot of exposure. I can tell what I am today because of this college only. I did my graduation in computer science and engineering from JNTU Kakinada, and I actually got a merit award from the institute for excelling in academics and extracurriculars. I was actually the first girl in our family to go out of my city to study actually. The thing is that we all know the society which we are living in. My parents are so afraid. They just don't want me to go out of the city. I was like a bird who's living in her own cage until my class 12. But then later on I converted a good college, JNTU. So somehow I convinced my parents, my mom, my family, they supported me a lot. So ultimately we convinced our father, and that is how I ended up in JNTU. Later on I got an opportunity in PwC, that is Big Four. So I got a campus placement. I worked there as EIS intern for like 6 months, and then I got a full-time offer from there itself where I worked for like 14 months. So during my tenure in PwC, it was so good. I was enjoying the time, I was learning a lot of stuff there. But then I just don't want to continue in that same phase like for 30-40 years during my entire career. So I had this, I want to take a leap in my career. I want to continue my higher studies. I started preparing for CAT along with my job. My job actually takes a lot of energy. By the time my work is done, my energy levels are pretty low. But then I used to study until like 3-4 in the morning, and then I used to sleep, which was like, it has had a bad impact on my health. So I had to decide between like either CAT or job at one point. As usual, I just quit my CAT and I continued working in my job. I felt like, I don't want to regret of my decision like 10 or 15 years later in long term. So, I thought I'm gonna do it. So it may or may not happen, but I'm gonna take this risk now. So I'll quit my job, I'm gonna prepare and let me see where it takes me to. So when I told my parents I'm gonna prepare for CAT, like they were, okay, you're doing your job, so you just do whatever you want to do. That was actually fine, but then I was sitting, like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, which had a very bad impact on my health. So at that time, my father is like, no, health is the topmost priority. You're not gonna compromise your health for your career or your job, anything. He gave me 2 options, like not even 2 options. He actually want me to continue in job only, but I am having 2 options at that time. In my mind, both of things are running parallelly. I can continue on my job either, or I can quit and I can prepare for CAT. Yeah, I was struggling to decide between them actually. I continued to work for 4 months again. Because I'm not sure, I don't even have that courage to quit the job at that point of time because there were no examples in our family. I'm not even sure I'm going to land in a good college. Things may not have been good, and I may end up being nowhere, quitting my job. So given all these things, I don't even have that courage initially. But then I told you, I just don't want to regret at some later point in my life. So I'm going to give one sincere attempt. Let me see where this will take me to. So that is how I decided I'm gonna give CAT this time, only one attempt. If this CAT 2023 doesn't go good, I'll come back. I'll search for another job opportunity. There are no people in our family, studying in a good IIM, good IIT in that matter. So like generally, my parents were not aware of these IIMs and all in general. Even I only know them through social media. So there's no example to show them in my family that if I take this path now, if I go on CAT and then I'll get into a good college and all. So that was actually a bit challenging task. I need to like convince them. I need to show them the examples through the internet and all. I need to show them I'm having that potential to go into good college. Yeah, it was not at all easy given the circumstances that there was nobody in my family going out and studying in a top tier 1 colleges, especially no girls went to any good college. And also the thing is, I was actually I just mentioned I came from a joint family, a traditional Indian joint family kind of setup. So the thing is, we girls were generally married at pretty early age, like 22, 23. In that age, most of the girls will be married. So the thing is, at that point of time, I was 21, 22. So my parents, I was already having a job, earning good. So they want me to get married as soon as possible. But then, I wanted to get into CAT and all. Given that this IIMs require 25 lakh of bulk loan. So it was like pretty challenging to convince my parents regarding this thing about quitting job, again taking this bulk amount of loan and working so hard to just clear the loan and all. My father is actually, he's not accepting. He was like, you are doing good, you are doing so good in your life. You just don't need to take this risk right now. We don't even know, given the recession impact, we don't even know if I'll be ending up in a good job if at all things didn't go good, if I didn't convert any good college. So there is no surety. So my dad, he's like, no, you're doing so good enough in your life. You just don't need to do everything right now. You can enjoy this phase in your life. You're in 20s, you go enjoy for 1-2 years and then you get married, live a peaceful life. Why do you want to get into such a trouble now? Why do you want to take a risk of 25 lakh loan and work your ass off to clear that loan again? Like maybe it takes 3 to 4 years again just to clear the loan. I made up my mind. I'm not gonna change this time. I'm not gonna change my career. I need to work like 30, 40 years in my life. Just, I can't compromise on that. So yeah, there were long conversations happening. Yeah, when I quit my job, my dad, he's even not convinced at that time. But when he saw me preparing, when he saw me putting all my effort, he's like, acha, she's doing something. She wants to do something. At that time, my dad finally convinced, okay, I'm not gonna stop her. Let her go where she wanted to go. Exactly like 100 days before my CAT, I quit my job. So I had to study from zero. Like I had to start my preparation from zero. Very less time left, like 100 days, and I had to study everything. It was difficult actually. I used to sit for like 10, 12, 14 hours some day until my daily targets were completed. And sometimes that had a negative impact on my mental health. But then I just overcame all. I just want to study. So that is what I concentrated on. I studied. Somehow I went to CAT. I always had this notion I'm very good at aptitude being an engineer. But 2023 CAT was like a very big blow on our faces. The aptitude paper was actually very difficult. I was so confident even before going to CAT, I'll definitely gonna go to some good college this year. But then the CAT didn't go as expected. I was thinking to prepare for that, which is like around 1 month after CAT. But then things again went bad. Like exactly after 2 days of my CAT, my uncle passed away. We lived in a joint family. All of our family, we were in a kind of mental trauma. We were not able to get out of that trauma. So I couldn't even give that any other competitive examinations for MBA. I just had CAT. I was very clueless about my career, where it is going, because I left my job. I was running out of my savings at that point of time, and I was so clueless. Somehow I ended up having good calls. I got calls from many blackies, Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, Kozhikode, Indore, all cab calls. Given that I'm having a good profile and work ex. So again, I saw an opportunity there. So the CAT journey is not over yet. I still have chance. I can try now. So again, I just revamped my energy, my confidence, and I started preparing for interviews. So I prepared everything. I just don't want to leave any stone unturned. I always wanted to do better in my life. I had that clear-cut vision since my childhood. I never compromised on my career or my education or anything. I'll tell people ki, like, try, instead of quitting that even before trying this, because you may end up regretting your life choices. You just don't want to regret your life choices. It's your life, like you need to make the most of it. I believe we need to take, risk in the sense that should not be uncalculated risk. You can't just without even knowing the syllabus and all, you can't just quit your job and do the things like very having a lot of risk. I think it should be a calculated risk involved. Like in my case, I know what is gonna happen. I know the two options. If CAT didn't go well, I can go back and work. But then what if CAT happens? That will have a very huge impact in my life. So that was the only thing which I looked into, and that is what I'll suggest people. You need to take calculated risk. I literally remembered the day when CAT IIM Kozhikode results came. When I converted IIM Kozhikode, it was on March 8th, I still remember the date. I cried like anything, because that was the first time in my life I took a decision which is not very easy, and I stood by it and I achieved something. So that happiness, it's worth all the risk or all the compromises which you have done earlier.